Hey, it looks like we actually made it this time. Hey, guys, gals, non-binary pals. My name is Andrew Otway, and this is a That D&D podcast production tonight. I'm excited to bring you One Night in Doskvol. We'll be playing Blades in the Dark, and you should recognize all of us, probably. But just in case you don't, let's go around the horn and introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Jordan. Tonight I will be playing a cutter who goes by the nickname Chime. If you ask him why, he will tell you a different story every single time. His real name is Duncan Brown, and his family was Skullvlin. They're like refugees, wrong side of the war. I think like brown coats from Firefly.
Hey, I'm David. I'm on occasionally. My character I'm playing is Jingle. His real name's Nickel Rockful, and he's called Jingle because he used to work as a sapper in the mines, and the sappers at the mine he worked at wore bells on their clothes because that way, if they were running away, everybody else would know to run away too. And he left the mining town he was in because he and some other people tried to unionize, and it did not work out in their favor.
Wow. Everyone has thought about this far more than I have had time to. So I'm Renee, and I've been around. And I will be playing a spider. Who is a tradesperson whose name is Tarva, but everyone calls her Glass behind her back because she has a look that is sharp as glass. Then that's how she gets the best deals in town.
I love it. Let me just quickly rename you from first alias last to Tarva Glass. All right. Let me also just quickly shift us over to the other screen. There we go. Tarva, Tarva.
Yes.
Neat.
I'm all about phonetic spellings for character names.
I appreciate it. And then that. Cool. All right, let's bop us over. So yeah, we'll be playing Blades in the Dark, and we still have a bit of paperwork to do, because we need to come up with a crew. Which means the pressure is on you some more, and not me, which also I appreciate. Does anyone have a particular crew that they feel drawn towards? We've got a cutter, so we can...
Why don't you run down some of the options, just since we're not super familiar with what's available.
I am not familiar at all.
So there are assassins. Mostly they run messages to people, and the messages tend to be corpses. There are bravos who kind of mercenaries, kind of thugs, kind of... They like the assault job, which the elevator pitch for the assault job is do violence to a target.
Their tag should be fight me.
Kind of. There's cult, which is the chanting backwards Latin and blood sacrifices to do spooky magic stuff with spooky forgotten god stuff. Hawkers, who find, shall we say, goods that have a very high demand and that they can extract a high price for. And these goods may or may not be legal, but almost assuredly they're illegal. There are shadows, who are sneaky people who like to break into things, take things, and leave... they take only valuables and leave only footprints. Smugglers, people what break blockades and get illicit goods from point A to point hawkers. And vigilantes, which I don't actually think I've got a full set of rules for yet. But I'm told that John is working on a few different, actually legally... Well, probably not legal, but people who think they're doing more good than perhaps they actually are.
So we have a cutter, a leech, and a spider.
Yeah.
Is that correct? I think maybe we should go with hawkers. Like, Renee's character's the mastermind, I'm the muscle, and then David's character like makes the goods.
Chime, we gotta cook.
Oh, and one other thing. The thing that he keeps trying to make happen is it's chime time.
That's really good.
I kept
Is it
finding
though?
more and more. I'm sorry, what were you saying, David?
Is it though? Is it really good?
It's a crime. So, hawkers? Yes, no. Maybe so.
Sounds good to me. Since this is a one-shot, is there a particular type of job that is of particular interest to people?
So far, all I can think of is just smuggling drugs or trying to get to a seller. Like, trying to cut out the middleman, which is like a smuggler, and do it ourselves since we're a small operation.
Okay.
That works. I was definitely leaning towards smuggling something, but, you know.
Okay. Yeah, that's something we can definitely look towards doing. Let's see who people chose as their special friends and as their rivals here. So we've got Sawtooth, a Physiker. We have... Oh, there's a bunch of other crew stuff that we still have to determine. Veldrin, a Psychonaut. Awesome. And... is there anyone you're leaning towards having as a friend or as a rival, Glass?
Oh, yeah. How many do I do? I couldn't remember.
You have one best friend and one rival.
Okay. Oh, we need information broker. And this guy.
Awesome.
Who needs records of things?
So your rival's the archivist?
Absolutely.
Outstanding.
It's just so pesky. People have information.
All right. Cool. All right, and the crew gets a special ability. So they are in order Silver Tongues. Each PC may add one die to command, consort, or sway. So you're good at talking to people. There's Accord, sometimes friends are as good as territory, which is probably stuff that won't come up in a one-shot. The good stuff, your merchandise is exquisite. The product quality is equal to your tier +2. When you deal with a crew or faction, the GM will tell you who among them is hooked on your product, one, a few, many, or all. Ghost Market, through Arcane Ritual or Hard-Won Experience, you have discovered how to prepare your product for sale to ghosts and or demons. They do not pay in coin. What do they pay with?
Oh my god.
High Society, it's all about who you know. Take -1 heat during downtime and +1 die to gather info about the city's elite. Hooked, your gang members use your product. Add the Savage, Unreliable, or Wild Flaw to your gangs to give them +1 quality. Awesome. Patron is someone who's paying your gang, and that's probably also not super relevant. And then Veteran, which is you grab a special ability from another gang or crew play sheet.
So far, I think so for this, Silver Tongue might be the most useful, but alternatively, we could go with Veteran, pick from a different gang.
Sure. I mean, It seems like, I mean, so this is also a one shot, so we don't have to go for like
yeah
long-term mechanical viability.
No, I was just thinking of like short-term benefits.
Mhm.
Something that we could use on whatever this mission is.
Yep. I'm thinking it's probably going to be something like I'm thinking the job is going to be, I mean, well, it's up to you guys actually, because I have a set of questions that I like to ask people. I like to put my players on the spot when they're playing Blades, especially for the first job. So let's finish making the crew. I'll put all of y'all on the spot, and then we can go from there.
So I guess it depends. How do we want to problem solve? Do we want me to correct misunderstandings with my fists? Do we want to try talking? Do we want to, do something sleight of handy and just steal from under people's noses? Or
I kind of feel like sleight of hand while I talk at them, and if they don't listen or they catch us, then the fists might be our plan B.
Yeah. I mean, we could also be stealing our product from someone else.
This is very true.
To sell to someone.
I'm thinking that's probably the job here is.
Yeah.
There's a warehouse.
It's really funny if you steal the product from them and sell it back to them.
Yeah.
I really hope that's Glass's like professional.
Shh. Nobody ever knows. I've never been caught.
Mm-hmm.
You can't prove that.
I'm just picturing, she's like, oh no, that's so terrible. Here, why don't you sell this? Like, get this. I'll sell it to you totally wholesale.
Exactly. Exactly. I hear you're in need of this particular product. I just happen to get a great deal on these mysteriously around the same time.
And because we're such good friends, I don't mind letting you have a steeper discount than normal.
That's right. That's right.
It could also be, we could also do Ghost Market, and our, end game buyer is someone from the beyond who might be able to help us like get future deals, like narratively, but
Mm-hmm. I mean, these all sound like viable options to me.
Yeah.
Honestly, the hard part is just picking one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How about we come back to the ability?
Well, here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question. What sort of stuff do you think?
What's your product?
Move?
Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm sure there's more than one thing we move, because being opportunistic is the mark of a good gang of criminals. But like, what are we known for? Like, do we move lots of, weapons? Do we move like cult books? Do we move?
Well, and that might inform.
What sort of stuff do we move?
Yeah.
That also might inform your crew's reputation. Because, I mean, I imagine as purveyors of illicit, legitimate goods, your reputation, like, that's your brand, right? Like, I imagine at least one of you thinks in the term brand, probably more than is, say, traditional for a criminal.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it sounds like we're trying to give a slightly legitimate air. So we probably don't want to be like selling blood slaves or something.
No.
It could be medical supplies.
Contraband.
I mean, like something that either is just tough in general for someone not connected to get, or something that needs the extra security because it's abused so often.
So here's an idea on medical supplies. There was a civil war recently in the history in the fiction of Blades in the Dark. It ended badly about 2 years ago with the assassination of the Queen and her consort. And yeah, that resulted in the unilateral surrender. What if it's like traditional Scove medicine, which just as part of sort of this cultural program of colonization has been outlawed, and it's actually effective and useful to people, and they know how to use it, but it's against the law because it's this culture that is being repressed and they're trying to murder the culture.
I like that, especially because my cutter is Skovlin.
Ooh, yeah, that works.
And I mean, like, it's the man stepping on the neck of, you know, the struggling commoner, and like
we're doing a good thing while we're getting paid.
Exorbitant amounts of money getting paid. They're big.
All right. Do we have a good word that pops for the crew's reputation off that?
Ambitious.
Is there like a list of words we can choose from? Or?
I think there's a set list. Let me double check and find it here. Ambitious, brutal, daring, honorable, professional, savvy, subtle, and strange. I especially like the assonants on the end of those last three. They really flow nicely together.
I feel like not brutal and not strange. Eliminate those.
So I mean, and I mean, we can do the like advanced version thing where we come up with our own, right? Like if it's not honorable, if it's like a step beyond that, and it's a reputation, it isn't necessarily true.
Yeah.
You can't prove that.
I think professional sounds good.
Okay.
It seems like, I mean, Glass is trying to have a reputation to uphold. And then, Jingle definitely has principles. And it seems like Chime's trying to make a name for himself, at least, you know? So you're trying to build a reputation, right?
Yeah.
Well, and certainly, given the fact that we're dealing with a post-quelling of a whole, you know, group of people of which you are a part, it certainly behooves all of us to have a professional air so that, like, the stuff that we're doing looks good.
Yeah.
For you and your group people. That was a long way around in words to say, I think. It's been such a long day.
All right. So we're a professional gang of hawkers. Is there a particular district that calls out to anybody in particular? Coleridge. So if you go to the Roll20 sheet, it should just be the whole. Coleridge is like choked with factories, and similar. It is probably a place in which Jingle feels incredibly at home, or at least like home adjacent, because it's like the stink of a mine as everything's being processed and everything. Duncan could kind of be from anywhere.
Yeah.
Same with Tarva.
Tarva works very hard to kind of obfuscate where she's from. It tends to help her succeed with lots of different people. her goal is always to expand her customer base and trade partners, and not being kind of backgroundless at first observation is a useful tool.
I imagine there's a bit of like Tarva very quickly picks up the affects and speech patterns and accents of people with whom she talks, so that everybody thinks that Tarva is of the same group that they are.
Right. Because if you're one of them, then they're going to think of you first when they need something.
Yeah. I like that a lot. So, I mean, yeah, Tarva and Duncan could kind of be from anywhere. So I'm... Okay. Is there any name that jumps out at anybody for this group of hawkers who sell medical goods and seem to have a theme going on with bells and glass?
I just went through several things in my head that were real dumb.
I mean, the last group put their base in 6 Towers, the district, and called themselves the 7th Tower, so...
Yeah.
So my brain going through multiple iterations of hypodermic and needle was really not that ridiculous.
I mean, like, it's medical supplies, and, like, just needle gets me thinking of, like, needful things, right?
Right.
What's a good, like, medical supply company?
I'm trying to think of something with the word holistic in it, because that feels like a good buzz term. That
I mean, another thing is that sort of the state religion is very, like, body and flesh oriented to the detriment to, like, explicitly non-spiritual. The spirit is like a plague of the city, because ghosts exist, and probably each of you have had that night where it's 2 a.m., you're fairly drunk, you're trying to stumble home, you turn a corner and there's like a ghost possessing someone, and you're just like fucking, and like turn and run and wait, and like by the time you stop running you've also sobered up and maybe puked in a ditch somewhere.
Well, I was thinking, since we're trying to be professional, but also, do things like medical, what if we called ourselves, like, well-heeled? Instead of heal like your foot.
Yep.
Ooh, that's very punny.
All right, and is the crew known as Well Heeled based in Crowsfoot?
Maybe we are near some rundown clinics in Crowsfoot.
Well, and this kind of really works out because Crowsfoot is also like the murder capital of Doskvol, at least the way I like to imagine it.
Yeah.
the well-heeled of Crowsfoot. It's a good ring.
It works.
In like an abandoned clinic or something?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
A small abandoned house at the end of a dark lane, except
Yeah.
Well, it could be.
Well, it's totally like this place that used to belong to a doctor who used to do, like, one of the last doctors in Doskvol who did house calls. The war occurs, he volunteers to go off and just never comes back.
Mm-hmm.
It's ours now.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So we've got a gang. So now that we know that we're professional,
Mm-hmm.
Is there any particular special ability that jumps out at us?
I think we should go with Silver Tongues.
Okay.
That bonus.
Yeah, I agree. I was kind of like between that one and the one where you have like connections, but I think Silver Tongue is a better option for us.
Sounds
Okay.
good. So everybody gets 1 die in one of command, consort, or sway. So 1 additional pip.
We can go up to 3.
Mm-hmm. You are probably the talkingest cutter I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well.
Everybody, it's interesting because everybody made their characters kind of talky,
Yeah.
like independently.
1, 2, 3, 4,
I like
5,
to
6,
talk
7.
with my buddies down at the docks.
1, 2, 3. Cool.
Well, I'm just gonna put a point in command.
Yeah.
And round things out. You have an incredible resolve defense. Good job. David, you're fairly new, if not entirely new, to Blades.
I've just heard some people play it.
So one of the core mechanics is if I describe horrible shit occurring, you can say nope, and then tell me how you're stopping that thing from happening. It'll fit into
It's resistance, right?
right, and it'll fit broadly into the insight, prowess, or resolve categories.
Okay.
And then basically you can, because the sheet is incredible, you can click insight or prowess or resolve. It'll pop up sort of the roll dialog boxes. But you get a number of dice equal to the number of pips left of that bar on the screen. So you've got 3 resolve, 1 prowess, and 2 insight, and that's a pretty good starting set.
Cool.
And it means your character is good at being willful and good stuff like that. All right.
So is that's just the first row then?
Yeah.
That's how you calculate that? Okay. Interesting.
All right. So I like to start all of my campaigns this way. I've got one question for each of you. Where are you? And this can be answered in any order. Where are you in the city? What's your objective? The second question is, what just went wrong? And the third question is, whose fault was it?
It was my fault.
That's always the question that gets answered first.
I know. Good question.
Is it always the cutter that says it's their fault?
No, it's
No.
not.
Okay.
This is actually a first. I think before it was the lurk. No, both times it was the lurk.
Yeah, and then in my in the games I haven't broadcast because I've done it twice otherwise, it was the whisper once and the spider. You just can't help yourself, can
No,
you,
I
Jordan?
can't. I can't. It's just right there. Yeah, so Chime did it.
Okay.
I don't know what he did though.
Does anyone have an idea for what just went wrong? And then maybe we can work backwards from there and figure out where we are.
I feel like I was trying to undercut someone on a sale,
Okay.
and it
So, I mean, like, did Chime just go hard when that wasn't needed? Did Chime, like, try to help out? Or maybe it wasn't necessarily Chime's fault, but Chime got recognized by someone?
yeah, I kind of feel like it was more like a jig is up kind of thing than pushing like maybe he's got a mannerism
Oh,
that people know about, and we were trying to be, you know, undercover super secrets. And the person, our target knew, had kind of like put the pieces together.
I do have a signature tooth that's made of a mysterious material.
Perfect.
It's
Smile
like
too big.
Yeah. Or like they said something that made me laugh, and then someone saw my tooth. It's like, hey, it's that bastard.
When we get the shot, like we
Yeah.
get the establishing shot, there's like clearly like the TV show drug deal going on, with Glass acting all cool and be like, "You got the stuff?" They're like, "If you got the money, we got the stuff."
I feel like this is a scene out of Snatch.
Basically. And then like someone says something, Chime cracks a smile, and we get like the lens flare off of the tooth. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It cuts to like an extreme close up.
Yeah.
Well, it like
And then,
cuts
like-
in 3 times
Yeah, like
in rapid succession.
Yeah.
There's the ting of the like lens flare, and like 4 different people all go for their guns.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or similar, right?
Maybe Chime is just as bad at resisting a chance to throw in a pun as me, so he has Chime in.
Yeah, I can't even be mad. That was well executed.
I had like a list of these yesterday.
Is that why he's always called Chime? Because he's always got something to add.
Yes.
So yeah,
Okay.
Chime makes a shitty pun, and then is the only person to laugh at his own joke.
Yes.
And then yeah, your odd tooth catches some attention.
Yeah. Probably one of their thugs recognized me from, like, I used to run in the same circles as them.
Cool. So David, do you know where you are, or what you're stealing, or even who you're stealing from? If there's a few factions, or I can I'm happy to pitch in here as well. I don't want to put you on the spot too much.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the factions. I guess what are some likely candidates that we could be trying to
Sure.
pull a fast one on?
I mean, there's the Foghounds. They're a crew of rough smugglers looking for a patron.
Oh no, we're gonna fight Ogre?
Well, it's a different set of Foghounds here. There's the Dimmer Sisters, who are actually a really cool faction of like witches, but all of the Dimmer Sisters live in like the Dimmer Estate, which is like a mansion that has fallen on disrepair, and they're all witches. They do like magic through tea sort of thing.
Okay.
And I like to imagine them as sort of like a neutral party power broker. Like they hold sort of like a moot, and a bunch of thieves show up and like know not to fuck with anybody on the premises of the Dimmer Sisters manor because they're witches on their home turf. That's just dumb. There's the Grey Cloaks, who are a bunch of cops who turned to crime. Oh, there you go. The Grinders, a vicious gang of former dock workers and Leviathan blood refinery workers from Scovlin.
Oh, shit.
So, I mean, maybe they're your supplier of the Scovlin medicine. There's the Crows, who are just a group of murderous thugs, and they kind of do a lot of murderizing of people. Oh, that's who the Ink Rakes are. So they're like journalists and newspaper publishers. I always thought of them as like tattoo ink.
Those are 2 totally different things.
Yeah. I'm still afraid of people who buy ink by the barrel, though. So is this buying supplies or like, was this trying to buy supplies? Do we think, is this trying to get maybe some heat off your back? Like if they were vaguely antagonistic towards you. Was this a sale gone wrong?
I think it'd be interesting if it was a sale gone wrong, because what happens is somebody's recognizing that, like, oh, this guy was hanging out the same night that this place got burglarized. Like, so maybe we didn't steal from these guys to sell it back to them, but it's like, hey, they stole from these people that we like.
Sure. All right. I think you were trying to sell goods to the Foghounds.
Mm-hmm.
And the Foghounds have been trying to get in good with the Crows, let's say.
Okay.
Or who was that other group? Where did that PDF go?
Grey Cloaks?
No, not the Cabbies, not the Foghounds, not the Dockers. Where did they go? The group who were the Scovlin, the Grinders.
Oh, yeah.
So knocked over a grinder warehouse.
Okay.
Did
Chime make a shitty pun as you all left?
You know what? So my background is Underworld. I used to be a lookout/muscle. I probably told these two how to break in there. And I probably made some like shitty inside joke that I used to make back when I was a nobody there. Like about a gang leader or something.
Sure. Awesome. All right, so let's say we're in this nice big warehouse that I'm drawing a wobbly circle around. In Crowsfoot, we've got probably like a crate of product. There's a number of angry crows in the room. A few foul words have been launched, mostly at Chime. And you hear one of the Foghounds say that the Grinders have to take us seriously after this. Yeah, who does what?
I am going to. We're obviously starting a fight, and now I'm gonna use my class ability, not to be trifled with.
Awesome.
And so I'm gonna push myself and take on the whole room and mock every single person that I punch.
Okay, this sounds like skirmish.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like there's a devil's bargain in here.
Yeah. Well, I'm already pushing myself, so I don't think I can take it.
Oh yeah, because the thing makes you push yourself. Cool.
Yeah.
Does anyone help you?
I will.
Okay.
I'm gonna use foresight.
Nice.
To assist.
Mm-hmm.
And how can I'm going to distract and shout encouraging words. So like whoever's like nearest to me, I'm gonna like try to get their attention so he can punch more people before they notice what's happening.
Can I set up the action actually?
Sure.
Because I can drop a smoke bomb.
Oh,
geez.
Outstanding.
I can drop a smoke bomb and then like you just come out of the smoke swinging.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So that is wreck, I'm guessing, because it's creating a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Create distractions and chaos.
Sure, that sounds right.
Okay. Let's see if there's a devil's bargain here. So this group is the Foghounds. Jordan,
Sorry.
relax.
No,
it's reflexive, I know.
How do you like this fog?
Yeah. I mean, a devil's bargain here is something like they already tipped off the grinders. Like they maybe had a clue, and there's some kind of signal that's gone out to the grinders, and so it's going to be like that's a couple gangs eventually. If anyone else has a different suggestion.
I do.
Okay.
Someone starts walking out the door with our crate.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Ooh.
Someone has grabbed the goods in the, like... Yeah. Oh, yeah, just the goods have gone missing in the chaos.
Yeah, because of the smoke bomb. Nobody's looking at it.
Well, the smoke bomb, and then, like, there's several seconds of protracted punching.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'd have to follow them and get it back.
Yeah. That's really good.
Okay. So if I'm setting up, do we do the assistant checks before she?
So yeah, when you set up, it's you try your roll. So you're doing a whole roll. We're gonna see how well the smoke bomb goes,
Okay.
and then if you get success, then what happens is Jordan gets greater effect or position.
Okay.
I think for the smoke bomb, it's probably
said
controlled. That. Yeah, no, but so for your position,
controlled. Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is probably controlled standard. Like they're not. No one's expecting a smoke bomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what I mean.
Yeah.
Controlled standard.
And then you get to add one for the devil's bargain if you decide to take it.
Yeah. So if someone makes off with the goods, then you can take.
I didn't add the.
Okay.
Bit, but I got a 5.
Okay.
So.
If you would like the devil's bargain, I'll let you roll a d6 now. But
That's all right. A 5 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. So, with not to be trifled with, what is my standing?
I think this is still risky. You are punching several humans.
Right.
Several humans who were prepared for punching. They just weren't prepared for smoke bomb and punching, which I'm guessing at least one of you will write down as like we need to work on this maneuver so we can like deploy it reliably.
Yeah. I actually meant effect. My bad.
Oh, okay. I think with the smoke bomb you're up to great.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. There's probably some kind of minor complication that occurs with the smoke bomb, but
yeah, it's risky. Okay, so
I mean, I can read you what the smoke bomb description says.
ooh,
Okay.
yeah, please.
Creates a cloud of acrid smoke that's difficult to breathe and stings the eyes.
I mean, I think
So-
it's just there's obvious smoke residue on all of you. Like it'll be easier to track you.
mhm.
That makes sense. We probably smell bad now.
Yeah.
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 Now. Just-
What did you put in
I
your
don't know
smoke
about
bomb?
you. I always smell good.
You're telling us that we all got smoked?
Yeah. I would not feel so all alone.
Okay, so 1 die for pushing myself and 1 die from glass using foresight.
Yep.
Cool. Oh my god!
Oh, holy!
Well, I had to lose that record of rolling strong for like, ugh. Okay.
I mean, yeah, you come out swinging, and yeah, it's so whoever we use to cast for Ogre in Gastown is the same actor as the person you go for first.
Aaron said Logan, like Logan Wolverine.
Okay, so yeah, it's you tackle Logan era. I've just forgotten his name because I'm bad at actors' names.
Hugh Jackman.
Thank you, Hugh Jackman. So yeah, you tackle Logan era Hugh Jackman.
Huge jacked man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And it turns out that yes, Hugh Jackman is a huge jacked man.
Yes.
And like, yeah, you take this person to the ground and like 2 of their friends, and you punch Hugh Jackman square in the jaw, and like there's like the trickle of blood, and then this guy just smiles at you.
Yeah.
And like I think this person, like, they don't punch, but they, like, start grappling you and, like, roll over. They get you in, like, a choke. You're in a bad spot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've taken harm yet, but you're pinned.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, they're grinning because, like, oh, it's a fight. Good.
That tickles.
Yeah. Or just not even like, yeah, that hurt. I don't care.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's get a clock here.
At least they're all looking at me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you've certainly got aggro in this room.
Fog pile.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right.
I'd probably even say that, like, as he's pinning me.
Yeah, you're like, fog pile. All right, yeah. So yeah, Jingle, your muscle is on the ground being out-muscled. What do you do?
Did you have anything you wanted to do, Glass?
Just in chat, I am a tiny man.
I am a tiny man.
What is this? I guess, like, I mostly just want to, like, get the, like, I mean, the only thing I can probably think to do is try to get their attention, like, distract them from what's happening so that
Sure.
maybe Chime can tiny away and slide, you know? Like,
Yep.
I don't know. Like, hey, guys, look over here.
Yeah.
I'm free.
So, I mean, you've got sway, so you can bullshit them somehow.
I would love to, like, yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Like,
If you
know, look at the tiny, yeah, like, seriously, you don't want to fight him. Come on. You want to? I'm the one that you really want to deal with here, right? You know. And my friend over there with the smoke bomb, like, not that guy. Sorry, Jingle.
I don't even know this guy.
So, I mean, what?
We don't know where the goods are, though, so we can't.
No, we didn't take the devil's bargain.
Yeah,
The goods
they're
are
still around.
Oh. Okay, so, I mean, I'm assuming that I know where the goods are.
Yep.
Like,
'Cause
which
you
person
told us
has
that.
them?
I'm
All
guessing
right, so
like
then,
they're
yeah.
on the floor in a crate or something.
It sounded like we were trying to sell to these guys.
Okay, so yeah, I want to like definitely try to like get their attention and just like keep talking about how they don't really want to have this fight, and kind of get Jingle to grab the stuff and go out through the smoke.
Okay, so you're buying time.
You digging me, Jingle? You digging me? Okay, I'm
so, I
gonna
mean,
roll this and it's gonna be shit, right? That's what's gonna happen now.
There's a couple ways we can do this, because if the goal is Jingle gets out with the stuff,
Yeah,
that sounds like
that's the goal.
Then that sounds like you're helping Jingle do a stealth, like a prowl, like to grab things and go.
I guess. I mean, I guess.
If you if talking buys Jingle an opportunity to leave, Jingle has that. Like, there is that moment. If you get if you're buying Jingle an opportunity to leave, and also maybe they loosen their grip on Chime, then yeah, let's roll some dice.
Okay, I'll roll some dice.
Awesome.
That would be sway.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
can just click this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can click the word sway, and then it'll... this is probably risky, because one of your people is in a chokehold. Probably standard effect, because, I mean, they're not... They did come here to bargain, Dormammu.
Right. Right.
And then, is anybody helping?
I could kick a dude and jab a thumb in her direction.
Well, just be like, look at her?
Hey, seriously, pay attention to her.
I mean, if you even like play possum a little, that might be like.
Yeah. Just stop it.
Probably say something along the lines of like, "What's the matter? Didn't your ma teach you to listen to a lady?"
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Does that count as help?
Like,
Yes.
I'm wheezing as I say it.
Yeah. All right. Take one stress, Duncan.
Duncan got dunked. Oh shit!
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Fuck! I'm so sorry.
I think. Yeah. The person, like the third person. Because I think the second person that Chime tackled is like awkwardly at the bottom of this fog pile, and like they're trying to roll out, but they're not like built for this. They're just awkwardly pinned there under like the 2 muscle. The other person sort of like puts a hand on your shoulder and is just going to like march you up against a wall and tell you to sit down, shut up. They're taking your goods, and if you're nice, then maybe they'll actually let you leave, but we're pretty sure the grinders have business with you. And they pay better than you do.
A sad face.
All right, Jingle, save the day.
So are we all like on the same floor, or are there like...
I'm imagining like a bunch of you in like an office in a warehouse sort of type deal.
Okay. I didn't know if like they're like, were there like some of the grinders, or they're not here? No, they're not here. They're just talking about, okay. Yeah. I didn't know if they're like people like standing on some scaffolding on a...
No, I'm picturing there's like maybe 6 or 7 like total humans in a room.
Okay.
And like it's raining outside. It's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's probably the dead of night.
I mean, probably.
Crime does go better at the dead of night.
So...
This is like the worst set of dice I've ever seen in plays.
I think I'm gonna have to go and I have to go up and deal with this guy that's got glass up against the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like there's a knife in hand, but it's not like at Glass's throat or anything.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna step up and say like, "Hey, whoa! There's no need for all that," and I'm gonna blow some standstill powder into his face.
Okay.
Blow powder in his face. That's gonna cause temporary paralysis, and I'm gonna take the knife out of his hand.
I love it. Okay. I think that just happens. I don't know that anyone is expecting standstill powder.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it hits. Kind of want to see like a retroactive tinker, but I mean, it hits. You do the thing. There's like a white knuckle grip on this knife in the person's left hand. The right hand is like back a couple centimeters from Glass's.
So I just push him, and he falls over. But...
Well, and like isn't stiff because but like can't move their muscles of their own volition, and just like eyes wide with terror, confusion, and like there's like a rasping noise coming from them as they're just utterly confused. And I should figure out how long this stuff lasts. Yeah. I think one of the other people notices that maybe that's the role, is to see like how quietly you can pull this off, or
okay.
Which is probably a tinker or a wreck. It's probably a tinker if you're being like subtle about it, and it's a wreck if you're not.
Yeah, I'm trying to be, because like going up and like being like non-threatening and trying to like diffuse the situation and then being like, whereas I feel like a wreck would be like, being like, "Hey, we don't want any trouble here. Oh, surprise!"
Yeah.
Pocket sand.
Yeah.
Sand.
Yep.
All right. So Tinker.
Yeah. Let's see how the Tinker goes.
And what sort of position?
This is controlled. They aren't expecting the pocket sand.
Okay. The standard effect.
Great effect. They aren't expecting pocket sand.
Okay.
And like the person falls over, so it's yeah.
A 6.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
You do it clean. Like no one notices what's going on until that person hits the ground. And I think at that point, like there is a bit of a relaxation on your neck, Chime, as you know this large muscly person like is just like relaxes out of confusion. Like they've been distracted effectively. And also, like, have you ever fought someone who grapples before? Because your rival's a pugilist.
Yes, I think they were formerly my teacher.
Okay.
But I kind of like fucked off and didn't really listen, or I wasn't like super disciplined with it.
Sure.
Like I got lazy with my stance or something.
Yeah. Well, and they'd always come by and just like trip you when you weren't paying attention to
Or,
try to teach you the lesson of pay attention.
Yeah. I would always do stuff like try to start group fights that I didn't always win.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, there's a temporary relaxation. Alternatively, Glass, you have been freed from this. I mean, not freed in that you could have probably walked away, but yeah, this person is no longer all up in your grill.
Right.
Quick question. So Jingle and Glass are upstairs, out of sight, out of reach.
No, I'm imagining you're all in the same room.
Oh, god damn it.
Mhm.
Why?
I don't know. No reason. I don't have a vial. What are you talking about?
Oh, good. I mean, like if
Not
you want
mine.
to, if you
Friends.
want to John Wick this guy out a window and like down a floor,
Mhm.
like we can say that yeah, the office that this warehouse is like up a floor on a catwalk.
Yeah.
You can totally like pick him up, throw him over like through a window, and try to land on him.
Is there a limit to? Is it just not to be trifled with whenever I push myself?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Another thing that you can do is if you do decide to say imbibe certain essences, you can resist the consequences of the can't stop until they're all broken.
Oh yeah. I have to resist that and can't tell friend from foe because I think it's like
Yep.
two separate resistance rolls.
Yes.
Shit. I only have. I would be rolling
Yep.
what? Resolve?
Probably twice.
Okay.
I mean, if you do feel like chugging some rage essence.
Yeah. I'll hold off on that for now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna go ahead and just try pushing my luck with the fog pile that's still on me.
Sure.
This is probably desperate, right?
This is desperate. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I get XP.
Yeah.
Effect, since I'm using not to be trifled with.
I mean, you're pushing yourself, so you can push yourself for the extra die or extra effect. Because you're also using not to be trifled with. Like you're probably getting great at the.
Max.
Yeah. So I mean, what's the? I don't think you're fighting a small gang. So
Oh
I mean,
no! Did they
it's-
all get up?
well, at this point, it's 2 people, and one of them is like not a combatant.
Mm-hmm.
So the if you want to do the feat of physical force that
Yeah.
verges on the superhuman, then yeah.
I would probably assuming I don't fuck this up, pick them both up and like spin them around and then throw them off the scaffolding
Sure.
into some crates below.
Yep.
So I will take the extra die and keep it to standard.
Okay. I mean, you're at great. Oh, goodbye, Renee.
Oh.
Hello, Renee.
Great. Bonus die.
And then,
5.
yeah, you pick him up, you whirl him around,
Yeah.
you impart a quantity of rotational, like of angular momentum. But this huge jacked man is a grappler.
Yes.
And has tangled up your arm with them and like legs around your torso, and you somehow managed to fling the three of you
Yeah.
off this balcony.
That's fine. I assume I land on one of them.
That sounds like a fortune roll.
Okay.
Alternatively, there's a resistance roll in here for the like level 2 harm of dropped, 15 feet.
Sure. I guess prowess.
Yeah. Prowess makes sense here.
It's gonna go great. It did go great. Okay, so I land on... The little guy lands first. Huge jacked man lands on top of him, and I land on top of both of them.
It's the non-combatant's a lady.
Yeah.
RD6. Let's see how this person does.
No.
They're alive.
Okay.
They are unconscious.
We definitely heard some sounds.
Oh, yeah. Like, I imagine there's a Wilhelm scream in here just because the audio engineer got frisky.
Yeah.
Or when Chime goes over and he doesn't expect to go over, he does like that little yell that gnomes do when they're kicked off of their machines in Gnomergon.
Yep. So, I mean, like, what do we see? Like, describe Chime to us, because I imagine this is, like, the first time we get, like, a good shot of, like, Chime picks up these two people and, like, by the scruff of their neck, like, rotates a couple times, and then, and the three of you all go off together.
So I probably said, like, I threw the lady first and was like, ladies first.
As one would.
Yeah.
It's only polite.
My mom taught me manners. Some, but not,
Wasn't paying much attention, but...
Yeah. And then, I probably, like, surprised Hugh Jack's man that I could even lift him.
Yeah.
After all of that. And as I fling him over and he pulls me with him, there's just probably, like, half a second where Chime is like, oh, shit. And probably, like, trying to spin in the air with Hugh Jackman.
Well, yeah, like, I imagine he's going for, like, the flying armbar thing. Like, he's got, like, legs legs across your chest, arm trapped between the hips. And then just, yeah. Lady lands, Hugh lands, and then you kind of land on top of Hugh, like, putting most of the brunt of the impact on, like, a shoulder and, Hugh's spine. Good.
No, that would have been great if I like managed to elbow Hugh as like I land.
Well, I mean,
like,
that's
in the jaw. I mean.
I mean, Hugh coughs up a quantity of blood that's probably better in than out, but that was great. So yeah, Hugh's unconscious, and we filled in his clock.
I mean, he started it.
Well,
you can't prove that.
Yeah.
Hashtag Hugh shot first. Awesome. And so yeah, like probably for the first time in like what do we see when you stand up, Chime? Somehow like relatively unscathed from this.
Um, Probably one, just like me kind of readjusting my waistcoat and shirt and just like dusting my hands and be like, nailed it. And I walk back to the office.
Stick the landing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and there's a poor bloke unconscious on the ground. Or not unconscious, but... I think there's one person in the office who's, like, quietly been in a corner
Yeah.
this whole time. And just, like... I surrender?
I mean, we paralyzed a dude and sent 2 other people flying.
So yeah, what do you do, jingle or glass?
So is the deal off?
We just go up to the last guy and ask to be paid.
They look out the window and they're like, she had the coin.
All right, well, the stuff's all there, so pleasure doing business with you.
Do you tell Chime and he just goes back and rifles through the ladies' pockets?
Yeah, we leave the stuff.
Just pick that up on our way out.
Leave
It's
with the
fine.
coin.
Look, we said we're going to sell it to these people, and because we're so professional, we're going to continue selling it to these people.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that we can come to leave this misunderstanding in the past.
Mm.
If you ever need any more supplies.
Do we leave like a card on Hugh Jackman?
I really like the idea that you just beat up a bunch of people while delivering medical supplies. So now they need more of your product.
Yeah.
Look,
I mean,
how you stay in business is not as important as staying in business.
May I recommend the green vial? Like I probably stand over Hugh Jackman or the paralyzed dude. Just like start recommending things that are for sure in the crate. We wanted to demonstrate, so they get a firsthand thing of how nice it all works.
Glass, do you have a pamphlet?
Just, a card. They did not have to draw weapons on us just because of the shiny tooth. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's true.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's very fair.
We don't bear any ill will ultimately because we won. So.
Oh my god.
Outstanding.
So we take the coin, and probably like before we leave, I clap Hugh Jackman on the shoulder and say something like, "It was fun. I hope we get another play date later."
Yeah, you're talking to a man who's unconscious.
I don't think Chime cares. Yeah.
In fact, you're talking to like 2 unconscious bodies, one of whom probably has like a complex spinal injury.
And they both have concussions.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a potion for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're actually at about an hour if we want to take a quick break here.
Yeah.
Seems like a decent time for it. So yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 5-ish minutes, hopefully. Yeah. Stick around. We'll be back shortly. Cheers. All right, and we're back. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. So it sounds like we've got the immediate situation at the warehouse more or less wrapped up. Let's say, how valuable are your goods, generally speaking? Because I want to figure out how much money this nice lady would have been carrying.
I think it might have been worth 4 coin.
Okay.
I'll defer to Jordan because I'm not super up on the
so
abstraction of pricing.
4 coin is a small job, generally speaking.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah,
Definitely a small job.
I'm trying to think. Actually, I could just ask you. Do we want to wrap up the score here and do downtime where you can do like interesting character motivation-y stuff, or do we want to keep going with the score a little longer? I can throw some more complications at you, or maybe something like they aren't carrying coin, they're carrying something worth coin, and then you have to turn that into money or more product or whatever. Because I mean, like, we could do a thing where, like, maybe making peace with the grinders.
Yeah. I think maybe take the coin,
Mhm.
do the downtime, and then try smoothing some misunderstandings.
Sure.
I mean, sure,
Oh,
we
there
got
we-
carried away, but
There's an IOU is what she's carrying in terms of payment. And it's basically like a note, and it's like that note in every CRPG where it's just like, if you see the fucker with the tooth, there's a bounty on his head, and it's worth 4, and it's worth 4 coin, signed like whomever the leader of the grinders is.
maybe it's my rival.
Yes, it's your rival. Thank you. Yes. That is exactly why rivals exist. Yes, thank you for reminding me of that. It is the pugilist. Let me just find her name again.
Marlene.
Marlene the pugilist. Yeah, signed Marlene, like, comma, grinder boss. So yeah, do like, how do you get back to base, and where is base?
So it's at abandoned clinic.
Right. Yes.
Probably wait for sometime when like the lights aren't quite on the street. Like maybe it's a maintenance sort of thing. Yeah.
Is your crew friends with the Lamp Blacks, the people who used to go around?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Maybe they caused a disturbance at like some center.
Or I mean, they just darken your paths.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
They're out of a job because of electricity.
Yup. I love that so much. Electricity was invented. Fuck. I feel like Jingle would be the person with that relationship too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the old industry, like, being supplanted by newfangled technology sort of thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a signal that you send off so the Lamp Blacks know to, like, start darkening?
I think like, to communicate, like, there's certain lamp posts in the general neighborhood that you can, sort of walk up to, and like if you wrap it a certain way, it flashes, and you can sort of do like a Morse code thing.
Nice. Well, and,
Do
like,
you use one of your mind bells?
So it's like it's like the lights flickering, and everybody just thinks, oh, it's shitty wiring, because there's a lot of shitty wiring, but it's like, it's actually purposeful, and you can sort of do like a quick communication that way.
I really like that. Like the DIY telegraph. I imagine, like, they've set it up somehow that it chains, like, it jumps 5 lamps, and then the next one like does the same blinking. And the lampblacks are just like information brokers and like communication network suppliers.
I think like part of what it is too is like, because I imagine these are like really old fashioned with the huge wires and stuff. So like depending on how you tap it to, like the intensity changes too. So it's not just on and off. Like you can pulse it in a complicated way. But
awesome. So let's maybe get a consort to like send that message.
Okay.
See how that goes. That'll be like that's your getaway. We'll do the payoff heat, and then downtime, and let's see if you just generate any heat off of this. Basically.
So is that a risky standard?
I think this is controlled. It's basically just as anybody else listening.
Okay.
And like, are you guys up? Yeah.
I'm gonna push myself.
Makes sense. Yeah, you're
just. I haven't used any stress yet.
Sure.
So.
God damn it, Jordan.
Oh, I rolled a 5 and a 6.
There you go.
You got a 6. Nice.
Yeah, it's you sort of like there's that tense moment where it's like tap to tap 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 and the message sends off. And then like there's just like sort of the long take of the three of you sort of waiting around this lamp post. And then poof, it just goes out. And then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. It's sort of like this cascading failure. And yeah, you get to travel home in relative darkness. And like it's so if you're not familiar with the world in which Doskvol occurs, the sun died. Like there's fragments of it that occasionally glow, which provide some amount of light, but like normally it is nighttime all the time because the sun died.
Healthy.
Yeah, it makes growing crops real difficult.
The moon still works the same as it did before, except it's growing bigger. Which is totally not frightening.
It's not. I was going to say it's not. That's not ominous at all.
Also,
I can't imagine why that would be a problem for anyone.
Also, the oceans are inky and black, and there's stars underneath.
It's good. That's fine. Exactly how I would expect it to be.
And full of demons. Also, ghosts just happen now. Ghosts become existent.
Just poof.
Yep.
I'm a ghost.
Awesome. Yeah. So we get to see like the three of you roll out like as relative shadows through the darkened streets of Doskvol. So there's a point where you can go to collect your 4 coin for the bounty on the head of that jackass with the tooth. So if you particularly wish to cash in on that, there are ways. The crew also earns 2 rep per score by default, and then if the target score is higher, take +1 rep. So we all get 3 rep. There we go. Next up is coin, which again you'll have to go bargain or smooth things over somehow. But there's a bounty of 4 coin on one of the people in your crew.
Yay.
2 heat. After a score or conflict with an opponent, the crew take heat. Add +1 heat for high profile or well connected. They are neither. +1 heat if the situation happened on hostile turf. Not really. It might be hostile now. +1 heat if you're at war. No. +2 heat if killing was involved. No.
You can't prove it.
I mean,
Look, this is the motto of my life.
yes.
You can't prove that, like, we immediately did it at that moment. It's totally not on us.
Well, and another one of the things, so because ghosts exist and they come out of corpses, there's like a system of magic that alarms the ghost cops when a person dies.
Huh.
So it's almost like we called for after the fact assistance.
Well, no one died.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, that's good then.
Yeah.
There's
The thing is, if someone dies, a giant bell goes off
Yeah.
in town. So everyone knows that someone died.
That's so ominous.
well, there's a bell. There's a bell that rings, but the like chiming of this like bell that is attuned to the death of humans leads the spirit wardens, the ghost cops, to the site of the corpse so they can collect it and immolate it, basically.
Okay, well, now you know why Jingle doesn't wear any bells anymore.
Yeah.
One of the made up like BS stories that Chime made up for his nickname was he went to the bell tower and rang it.
Oh. That's so good. Oh, man. All right. I don't think that this... So, none of the bonus heat happens. Do we feel like this job was smooth and quiet? Contained? Loud and chaotic, or wild?
Loud and chaotic, I think.
Yeah, I'm not really sure we could even like claim that it was contained.
I mean, it was contained within the warehouse.
Yeah.
But
yeah, okay.
They had already like let another gang know that they should come pack them up. We just happened to get out ahead of time.
That was a proposed devil's bargain that we didn't end up going with.
Yeah.
God damn it! I keep forgetting that we didn't take that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if we had left the warehouse and we're still being pursued, like then I feel like it would have been that sort of thing. But...
And like,
we didn't. There were no firearms used, so
yeah,
that's a big one.
I don't know if we saw the contents of the IOU, I'm not sure that we would have left the container there.
I mean, did you take it with?
No, I think we probably still left it there.
Okay.
I mean, what else? So, like, what was there anything else besides the IOU? Because it was just like a piece of paper.
I mean,
I don't know if we would have left with it.
You're in a warehouse.
Yeah.
So if you want to rumble the warehouse, see what's there, we can roll back a little bit.
I mean, I think we would have taken just the amount that we were due.
Sure. Does anyone want to?
because you rapidly get a non-professional reputation.
Yeah, because well, so here's the question: do we leave them the stuff, or do we find out like, oh, they've got the payment and they just have an IOU, and so then we're like, oh, actually,
yeah,
you don't have payment, and then we take the box back with us?
Probably. We just go look for someone else to sell it to.
Or does Glass leave an itemized invoice of like, I took these 5 things to pay for those 4 medical vials, and I took this thing to pay for these 2, and I took those 7 to pay for like the last big ticket item.
I do like the image of like coming back upstairs. And,
I
like,
kind of feel like my character would be all about doing that.
writing down on their stationery.
Like if there's if I were to look around in between the flinging people off of catwalks and walking out the door, and notice that there were items I might want to turn over, make a profit on, you know, that would be of an appropriate value for the items that we were commissioned to leave, I could see making an exchange and writing out an inventory.
Awesome.
I mean, you add
a
a surcharge for having to
handling
transport the goods,
right?
shipping and handling.
I mean, I have to carry them out, and I have to find someone to sell them to. So, absolutely, there is a transfer fee applied.
I just like the idea of handling, man. I also really like that I kind of talked you all into failing the Stringer Bell test of leaving physical receipts of criminal activity. But I also really like that idea.
But we also didn't take notes of any type of meeting, so we're halfway okay.
That's true.
I mean, they're criminals too, so...
Yep.
That's awesome.
What are they going to do? Talk to the cops?
Yeah. Yeah, officer, we were trying to buy these illegal drugs, and they beat us up, and then they left the illegal drugs with us, but they took this other illegal stuff that we didn't tell them they could take.
Maybe we took more legal stuff than what we left them with.
Let's see a survey. And I think basically failure is just the goods that you grabbed are especially illicit.
I have 2 points of what do you guys have for survey?
Survey or
Survey.
study.
I have 1 in survey and 2 in study.
Oh.
I mean, if we want to do a group
I
action,
got 1 survey, so.
Yeah, let's do a group action.
I mean, depending on what the stuff is, I think we could argue for anybody assisting. So.
Yep. Well, so a group action is everybody rolls. One person
take the
says,
highest.
I'm leading. And yeah, you take the highest result, and then the leader takes stress for every person who failed.
We're going into downtime after this, right?
Yep.
I will totally lead.
Awesome. Well, and you've got the underworld connection, so you know what.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's see the group action. Let's see how well y'all get paid.
5.
Okay.
So do we all roll survey?
And I take stress if anyone fails.
And it's just a fortune or controlled standard?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does-
I'm not gonna. Effect doesn't or position doesn't especially matter here. Okay.
Okay, so I take 1 stress.
So I imagine what happens is Glass takes off her gloves to start doing something and is very evidently about to leave a bunch of fingerprints behind. And then
I was just really distracted by this object that, it's just, it was very, I know that it's very expensive and luxurious, and that's my downfall.
it's stained
Bright,
glass
shiny.
something.
Yes. That's how I like to think I got my nickname.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, you find something and it's it is probably roughly as illicit as your medicine. It won't be difficult to shift. And I mean, maybe you already have a contact or client lined up. Who is your very special friend? The Physiker. Maybe, yeah, it's samples of
Painkillers.
something.
Painkillers?
Sure. I was going to say it's samples of something. For whatever reason, the Foghounds were transporting cadaver tissue,
Right.
which is generally really strictly controlled. And yeah, Sawtooth would definitely be interested in that.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So we have 4 coin. So everybody gets 1 coin. Well, however you want to split the 4 coin.
Yeah. Let's each take a coin and then we'll put the last coin in our group.
Cool.
Perfect. That's what I was going to say.
Boop. And we got our 3 rep. I don't think that bumps you up to loud and chaotic. And there are entanglements. So that was 2 heat, because that was contained. Most of that happened in 1 room. All of it happened in 1 warehouse.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that we visited a warehouse on the docks and it didn't explode,
Yes.
which is a thing that occurs in Blades in the Dark.
We're new. Sorry.
I was gonna say you're professional. And we get a 3 on the old entanglement-o-meter. Gang trouble or the usual suspects? Which one's gang trouble? Oh, one of your gangs gets in trouble.
But we don't have one.
Nope. So it's the blue coats grab someone in the periphery of your crew. One player volunteers a friend or vice purveyor. It's the person most likely to be taken. Cool. Does Sawtooth get caught with his?
No.
Okay. Oh no, that's who it is. The blue coats go and investigate Marlene.
Oh shit.
If you want to make a fortune roll for me, we can see how that goes.
Terribly. Let's see.
Or you can pay off the blue coats with 1 coin.
6.
Well, it's the
Oh,
lowest.
4.
So 4.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
She takes level 2 harm.
That's fine. She put a bounty on me.
Yep.
So.
So yeah, the cops roll up and beat up your rival.
Yeah.
Because she resists questioning, because she's a bit of a hothead.
Maybe I was somewhere like in the background, like, you know, what's the matter? What happened to your grappling?
Well, like, she's getting taken away.
Yeah.
Put into the wagon. Beautiful. All right. So we're into downtime. So there's 5 different types of actions that you can take during downtime. You can acquire an asset, which is sort of like a temporary one and done item. The cops are coming if you can hear sirens in the background, because they know I'm talking about illicit activity. Work a long-term project if you have the means. And yeah, that's starting something that's important to your character that isn't, that's probably like a pretty big lift. Recover, so you can go get a doctor to look at you. Reduce heat, which is take the heat that's on the crew and make it go away. Train, which is just generate XP for yourself. Or indulge vice, which is a 6th thing, and I can't count because counting is hard. Which is you go and get high or otherwise to help reduce all your stress. Does anyone have a thing they'd like to do during downtime here?
I'm very stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 3 away from traumaing out.
Awesome. I mean, that means you're only at 6.
Yes.
So that's fine.
Totally fine.
All right. So yeah, do you want to... What does your weird vice look like?
So I go look for this Tikarosi rooftop market vendor,
Mm-hmm.
who sells me drugs and other things. Actually, you know what? I look at all his wares, and he tells me a story of each place that object is from.
Okay. So you have story time with Uncle Demon.
Yes.
I love it.
While getting high.
Well, like that's like this person is like what they do. They get paid to talk or not talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've totally got like a snake's forked tongue. Like that's one of their demon tells.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's something soothing about the cadence of their speech and their
Trust
patterns
me.
and their
Okay. I will indulge. 4.
Okay.
So I'm down to 2.
What's the story about this time?
It's about my homeland, or my family's homeland. I've never been there. I was born here in Doskvol.
It's the night the queen died.
Yeah.
And it's a series of like minor tragedies that sort of occurred all across Skovlin.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of like this crescendo rises and then, hits its peak with the death of the queen.
I think there's like this story about a whale. Like when she awoke to see her consort being slain, there was a shrill wail that a bunch of people swear they could hear in different districts.
Yeah.
Right before being suddenly cut off.
Mm-hmm.
And he has like not the exact same item she was wearing, but something by the same crafter.
Yeah.
Like some piece of jewelry or something.
It was the necklace they made before they made the one the queen was killed in.
Yeah. And like there's people claiming if you like run your fingernail along it. Like you can maybe, I don't know, cure that whale.
Well, I imagine, like, I really like the idea of sort of like a series of minor escalating tragedies. And like each of them, they hear the wail that hasn't yet occurred. In their moment of tragedy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
As he's telling me this story, I'm just like, whoa.
When like you come to and like there's a bit of blood in your palms from like just balling your hands into fists so hard that like your nails have dug in.
Right.
But like I think like we get this shot of like him like relaxing your hands and your arms haven't felt that good in years.
Probably also like while I was there, my jaw was clenching like intensely and I couldn't get it to stop till after that.
Yeah.
So I just feel like loose everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll do my other action later.
Cool. Who wants to follow that act?
I'm going to extrapolate that since we are trafficking in illicit medical items that are illicit merely because of their origin, that maybe other Doskvol cultural items might also be illicit. Maybe like, antique artwork that is of traditional heroes or books that tell stories of, ancient leaders, things that the defeating powers that be would not want around because they might inspire
resistance.
Like ethnic love, patriotism and rebellion. So I think that my character probably has a long-term project to gather specifically renowned cultural artifacts because she likes luxurious items that are also thrillingly illegal to own.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like there's particularly maybe a particular tapestry of like the equivalent of St. George kind of thing, a legendary cultural icon that's moderately based in something like reality, that she's particularly trying to track down, and I really enjoy and get a lot of stress relief from tracking the history of this tapestry from the provenance to figure out who may have had, where it could be, who has had it last. It's kind of a long-term project of research and bribing people.
Awesome.
Not as thrilling as that amazing story.
That's
but mine
really
has a
good.
Tapestry at the end.
Yeah. It ties it all together. Awesome. Do you want to... So that sounds like it could be two things. Like if you're indulging your vice and also working towards this thing. Although it doesn't look like you took any stress.
I don't think I did.
Yeah, because foresight lets you... Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, how are you currently tracking this thing? Like, are you going through records and studying? Are you talking to people like collectors on like a patron client sort of thing, or?
I think that currently I got a tip that there was a record from not too long ago, like maybe 25 years ago, of a transfer, kind of a not a sale so much as one very wealthy person giving this item as a gift to another very wealthy person.
Yep.
But there are, you know, a lot of very similar looking transfer record books that are no longer kept in order because war and stuff. And so I think that at this point, based on that tip, I'm probably just like spending time leafing through
Records.
what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, like records, like city records, the equivalent of city records of like, and Sir John gave blah blah blah, and now it's worth 50 gold. And
I love the idea of like an illuminated invoice.
Oh yes, that would be beautiful, because it's like, fancy, and it's almost as great as the like we need to make this a special occasion.
The illuminated bill of lading.
Yeah.
There's a giant illustration, and then it's like this transferred here.
Right. This is what it looked like at the time.
Yeah, it's just lots of a guy like going like this, and a guy going like.
Man holding this tapestry, and over here is like an example of this necklace that was also at the time.
Yeah.
Some horses.
All right. So yeah, let's see a study.
All right. Study. Bam. Why didn't I go? Oh, there we go. Bam. Oh, now I can roll a thing.
There you go.
Very nice.
Yeah. You find some records and they appear genuine. Better than genuine, they appear like it's not 25 years like your contact told you, and you can understand why the lesser educated might make that mistake, because translating from Scove to Akarosi is not always one-to-one. They're a bit weird with their time. It was actually like 25 months ago. Like, it's a lot closer.
Yes, that's quite thrilling, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've put a name to this tapestry. It's Queen Kaylee, Slayer of the Serpent Silver.
Excellent. Oh, it has beautiful alliteration. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and it's this like did you play Dragon Age 2?
Yes.
So like, do you
most
remember
of the way? I have to say most of the way. I
Sure.
did get to a part where I was like, fuck this fighting through the city battle, bitch.
do you remember Aveline? Or Meredith,
Yes.
even. Like, Meredith in, like, her full plate armor?
Yes.
It's someone dressed, like, it's a lady dressed like that with, like, the emblem of, like, Skovlin on her forehead with, like, a giant fucking claymore through the neck of this, like, silver dragon, basically.
Nice. I'm very excited about this tapestry.
Yeah.
Just what I was hoping it would be. So close.
Yeah, and it's a lot closer than. And I was gonna say, like, if you failed, like, your blue coat archivist was gonna come by and be shitty at you. But I think
that would have been bad.
you catch him on your way out, and he's like, "Oh, who let you in? Like, didn't know you could read. Smell you later." And you're just like, "Ha, already got what I need, nerd." And then, like, a carriage drives by and splatters them with mud and poo.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't even have to say anything.
Yeah.
I just kind of look at him.
And the city answers for
and
you.
walk on. Right.
Awesome. Take that, Jaren. Teach you to be a cop. Cool. Jingle, what does your downtime look like?
Well, you get to do two things, right?
Yep, you get, and then you can spend coin or rep for additional actions.
Okay. Well, one would just be train, because It's boring, but
Which XP track?
I think the playbook.
Okay. So, I mean, what does that look like? How do you get better at...
Well, because what my other thing was going to be was I was going to start a long-term project,
Okay.
working on developing a new alchemical formula.
Sure. What kind of formula are you looking for?
I was going to try and I was going to concoct a sort of oil that when you rubbed it on something, it would make it transparent temporarily.
Yeah.
So like you could see through a box and see what's inside it, or
Oh, that's so good.
mm-hmm.
Because I was just like, yeah, you can like disappear a whatever and then make someone think that it's been stolen, and then you steal the invisible version of it as everybody's panicking.
I mean, you could do
looking for
that
it.
too. That
Yeah.
would be difficult, but like you can also like see like, oh hey, there's this warehouse. Which box has the thing we're looking for?
Without cracking any boxes, and awesome.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, that's really good. Cool. All right. What would you like? So that, I mean, the obvious answer here is tinker, but you can apply literally any of your verbs to working this project.
Well, it's definitely like it's an alchemical
Mhm.
thing, so I'm not sure if that's tinker automatically or
Probably.
okay.
Tinker is making the bomb. Rec is deploying it.
Okay. Well, I mean, rec. It's not a bomb. It's like
Sure, but I'm just saying, like that's sort of my like
right. Okay.
that's my version of int is knowing a tomato's a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. Like that's my version of that for tinker
Okay.
and rec.
All right. So it'd be a tinker.
Yeah.
Do we want to go through the rest of the inventing steps, or
Where are the rest of those? Just gonna.
it's on page 224?
Aha! I checked the leech pages, but not there. Doop, doop, doop. There we go. Okay, so what type of creation is it? What does it do? What is the minimum quantity level of this item? That's your question.
Yes. What is the minimum quality level?
It's probably standard. Is like the minimum.
Well, so I think the quality level is like
Or like the tier?
sort of, yeah, like
Okay.
because it goes like tiers 1 through creations generally have it says 1 through 6 for the quality level, and then that's like
Yep.
the higher the quality, the harder it is
Mhm.
to make and obtain,
Gotcha.
sort of thing. So
Okay, so it is tier. Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, probably tier 2.
tier 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
This seems pretty fancy. Actually, what else does it do? Like, does it leave behind like a telltale residue, or does it like evaporate, sort of thing? Like, what are the drawbacks or something? Or I guess that's a later question.
Yeah, that's there's another question you need to ask me first.
Yeah. I think we'll come back to the quality because it'll depend on how severe
Okay,
you want the drawbacks to be.
sure.
So what rare, strange, or adverse aspect or design has kept it in obscurity or out of common usage?
Well, it's definitely going to require some ghost juice.
Okay.
So you need to get like some ectoplasmic stuff to make this.
Awesome.
So that's definitely not, the easiest thing to obtain.
Yeah.
And then, like, anyone working with ghost stuff is either thinking bigger or they're thinking good, basically. Like, they're not thinking crime, Or if they are thinking crime, they're thinking like blow up the city and or take over the city.
Yeah, it's like it's not something you can just go to the store and be like.
Anyone who has like ghost goo is either like explicitly thinks they're working for the betterment of society, so they're probably unlikely to create vanishing goo, or is explicitly working for like terrorism, at which point you don't need vanishing goo except for the kind that makes it gone forever. Okay. So no one is thinking as medium as you.
I mean, I like to think it's versatile.
There you go. Sure.
By the way, I'm calling it vanishing varnish.
Oh, yep. Sure.
Nice.
I love it.
The drawbacks list. This is what happens when I play with an inventive leech. Complex, conspicuous, consumable, rare, unreliable, volatile. I think this is probably conspicuous.
Conspicuous?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think it's conspicuous in tier 1, or if you want to bump it up to tier 2, you can make it like evaporating.
I mean, I feel like it's definitely something that goes away after a while. You know, it's not like, oh, it's invisible forever.
Sure.
Over.
Well, no, but it's like it might leave behind like a tacky residue. Like someone's like inspects it and then knows that this stuff has been applied.
Yeah.
Whereas like if it's actually chemically volatile, which is to say it like evaporates at standard room temperature and pressure, then that's unlikely. So not like the kaboom volatile, the evidence destroying volatile. So yeah, it's tier 1 if it leaves behind an obvious residue. Tier 2 if not. I think that's my answer to the earlier question.
I mean, I'm gonna just kneecap myself and say it should probably be tier 3 if it's not gonna be conspicuous.
Okay. I mean, it seems like a cool thing, and I want you to have cool things.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm just thinking like it's definitely. I mean, you were talking about if we're gonna pick a drawback, it should probably be rare. From what you were saying about like needing an item that's a material that's not super easy to obtain to make it.
Yeah, ghost goo isn't especially difficult. It's difficult for you to get right now. It wouldn't actually be super difficult for your crew to like become ghost hunters. But yeah, right now it is also probably rare.
Sorry, I'm just clicking buttons because I don't know what the buttons do.
No worries. Yeah, I just made a... Okay. Let's see if I can add things to this. Rare and Oh no, you said not conspicuous. Oop.
Yeah.
Okay, I will stop.
And then I guess the other thing is like if it's consumable, like is it just one use? Is it 2 uses? You know, for basically one parcel of it.
Consumable, limited number of uses. All chemicals must have this drawback, usually 1 use. Yeah, I think it's just 1 use.
Okay.
Oh, and you need to study it as a long-term project. So this is a specific study. Cool.
That's what I'm starting, is just starting to work on it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, do you want to roll study and see how far we get?
Mm-hmm. So it says study.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and I'm not great at studying, so. But...
I mean, you're self-taught, maybe.
Is it
the position isn't relevant.
Is it just a fortune roll then? Or...
No, you can click through, and I'll ignore the controlled and standard sort of thing.
Okay. I didn't mean to add the extra dice, so it's just a 1.
Yep.
Or it's 0 dice, so you take the lowest roll. Yeah, so
Yep.
it's a 1.
Yep.
So
yeah, so you make a bit of progress, you make a bit of headway. I think you basically rule out a bunch of things that don't work. Like, or maybe you make as much progress as you can, and you don't have any ghost goo. You don't have any ectoplasm.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you've made a few things that like apply nice and like dissolve fairly evenly and fairly steadily and don't leave a lot of trace behind. And now you just need to figure out the transparency sort of thing. Cool. Does anyone have a second action between Chime and Glass?
Can I reduce heat and smooth things over with the grinders at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna
do you
that
take
with
anyone with you?
No, I don't know. I mean, would Glass insist on it if I mentioned it before walking out?
Yeah, okay. I don't know that I would insist on it. I probably would defer to your judgment on this. I feel like you probably have a better read on what to do.
Yeah.
I probably would be like, obviously available to come along, but leave it up to you.
Okay. Yeah, I think how I plan on doing it is like walking in see my old crew. They're all pissed at me, the bounty, and just like, hey, come on, we were trying to do the job, and it's like we did it. I know that you're pissed, but come on, business is business.
Okay, let's see how this goes.
Okay.
I think this might actually have a position to it.
Okay.
I think this might be a desperate consort.
Sure. Okay.
I think success is great. Okay. Like I think it's a desperate great. Yeah.
Glass, do you come with me? Like I do most of the talking, but you're like, yeah, we did everything, dotted our I's, crossed our T's. Glass.
Yeah.
Do you come with me?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to take one stress to help me?
There it is.
Surely.
Can I hear a devil's bargain?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to come up with. Devil's bargain is so yeah, you get your die.
Marlene comes back?
No, I mean Marlene's there. That's not a question. Glass, do you have an ex who's like a little rough and tumble?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, why not?
I think yeah, you have an ex in the room. And like, I don't know, it might have ended well, but maybe not. And yeah, it's another tie back to the Grinders crew.
So the devil's bargain is her ex is awkwardly there.
Yeah. And the best thing is it's actually up to Jordan to accept or deny that.
You know what? I think Chime was like Marlene's ex, so like both exes there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is great. Okay.
This is gonna be fun. My ex has a bounty on me. I'm just saying.
She wants you back.
Okay, here we go.
Boom.
Desperate crit.
Yep.
I can't believe Chime has such crazy consort.
It's
I have
2,
three.
and then like the help, and then yeah.
No, I have 3 because
Oh,
we got
yeah.
the silver tongue.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I put it. Yeah.
Okay.
Chime has to chime in. So, yeah. So and then I added 2 for the Devil's Bargain and then the assistants.
And you didn't need them.
No.
Yeah, it's. I mean, so the Grinders headquarters is, it's actually farther back from the water than you might expect. I think, like, one of the Scove superstitions is like there are demons in the water. You don't want to sleep near the water, basically.
Right.
They've got like a barracks, decently high walls and pretty few windows. And you catch them at the perfect time. They're just back from some raid on some, on a Leviathan Hunter ship that came back wounded. Like, the ship was all fucked up.
Right.
They stormed it, took a few heads, took a bunch of loot. They're drinking, they're drinking, they're getting high. They're there's some like proper Scove whiskey. And yeah, Marlene's actually in like, or is that her name, Marlene?
Yeah, Marlene.
Marlene's in like actually a pretty decent mood. And you're exactly what she needed to see. And like, whether that's like you're all, hey, I'm hot to trot, and this is why like you fell for me in the first place, or if you look like hammered shit because you fell off a balcony grappled by Hugh Jackman, and just like you beaten to shit and being like, yo, take this bounty off of me, and like humbling yourself a little. I mean, whatever it looks like, it's exactly what she needed.
Right. I probably have like a cosmetic black eye, and then I have like that really crooked grin with my replaced tooth, and just like this sad little scrappy puppy that walks in. Come on, like, you know what? Are you still mad at me? This has gone too far.
Yeah, and
like I got hurt.
She's like, good. I mean, yeah, that's probably good enough. And then like snaps her fingers and like tiny little, like, it's probably like a 14 or 15-year-old kid, like someone who still has to earn their fledges, runs over, and she's just like, tell the crew bounty's off on Chime. I don't want his stupid fucking tooth. He's learned his lesson. And yeah, she's gonna like clap you on the shoulder. Glass your ex is like passed out in a corner, so it's not awkward. Maybe you don't even recognize them. Like, they're in the room, but like they're just out of it. And I mean, yeah, if you want to get super drunk with a bunch of like vaguely Celtic piratical types, you do so.
Yeah. I think I even tell her the reason why it's a crit is I finally did something she told me to do when she was trying to teach me. Like, when I tossed Hugh Jackman off the catwalk, you know, I talk about, oh my god, you know, like, before I thought you were so full of shit. You know, that was like amazing. And then I managed to spin and land on top of him.
Well, and like you told me to always work on my footwork, and it finally clicked right after my jaw clicked.
Yeah. And there was a fog pile.
Yeah, and you're regaling her with tales of getting all fucked up on getting all fucked up by you know,
walking away.
Yeah.
Walking away.
Relatively unscathed.
So reducing heat wise, what does that do?
That's 5.
Okay. We got what, 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
So good job. I think the only times I've seen a crit on clearing heat is when it was actually really low stakes.
It was the cutter too, because Ogre did it in season 1.
Yep.
Like talking to people.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. And Tarva, do you have anything else you'd like to do this one night in Doskvol?
I'm gonna. Ooh, but my ex was in there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could have multiple X's.
Yeah.
Well, right, and ex. I'm just trying to decide how that. I'm gonna say that he's kind of an on again, off again kind of thing.
Sure.
Because I try to be really high class most of the time, at least generally speaking, because professional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about being professional. And he's not. So, he's like the biker that you date sometimes when you're in between your real boyfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that given I've just had this fantastic success in my search for the tapestry, that my judgment is a little bit on the side, and I'm going to go have a fun time with my ex for the night.
Awesome.
Because why not?
Sure.
I hadn't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
I forgot how great that leather jacket was.
I'll just mark this down as acquiring an asset.
Oh my god. I was gonna ask, does he like call himself your comfort food?
Jesus.
We're gonna go with a no, just because that's just no. I did have to think about it for a second, though.
God. Good. Oh, all right. What do we feel like, crew? Do we think we've got time for a quick score?
I think so.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. We're speedrunning Blades tonight.
Look, somewhere in our little downtime adventures, we got a tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some of us got more. Yeah, I think Marlene is. So, do you get more product, or are you going to build like a relationship there? Like, does she give you more product as like a, hey, we're fat with cash, and I feel bad for taking out that bounty because like that was a fit of pique, and it actually looks like it kind of worked, and so like here's an apology.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, do we want to do another thing where, like, it's another sale? Or, like, what does Well-Heeled feel like doing?
I mean, we did take those white warehouse items.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They're just sitting around.
Mm-hmm. So is it fencing those goods?
I think maybe we should fence the goods.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring this thing all the way through,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
We still need some 4 gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this doesn't sound like an assault job. It doesn't sound like you're doing violence to a target. Deception is... It could be transport. I could also see social.
Oh, yeah.
With negotiate, bargain, or persuade.
Mm-hmm.
Or stealth. I'm not entirely sure how that works. But yeah, transport or social seem like the obvious fits here.
We sneak
You have a
in,
trench coat, and you
take her
open it and
pants
say,
and
hey,
leave it.
how do you
And
feel
then-
about some illicit items today? And then you sneak away.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and it's like necrotized flesh. Like it's ghost meat. Or corpse meat, rather. Ghost meat is an oxymoron.
We go to a fancy restaurant and we're like, Excuse me. This corpse flesh is in my soup. I demand that you comp our meal.
And you do that for 4 coin worth of meals. I like it.
Okay, I really actually kind of like it.
Listen, I will run food fight and Blades in the Dark.
Dress
my
up real
God.
fancy. Go to the fanciest restaurant in town.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Let's create a uproar at a fancy restaurant, and then we maybe make out with some of the cash in the
it's not where I thought that sentence was going, but sure.
make off with.
Okay.
Excuse me. Okay, that's better. Make off with some of the cash.
I wasn't going to judge.
We get a fancy meal, and then we cut and run.
Okay, so this sounds like it could be social still, like negotiate, bargain, persuade. And you're discussing terms over like fancy dinner.
If we meet to fence the items over the fancy dinner, and then use it as an opportunity to, oh no, what is this in the food? We could get fancy dinner for free and also still fence the items. And I feel like this is a double win.
So is the thrust of the job the negotiation, or is it the like...
See, I thought we were just going to go by ourselves and then like make a scene. And then when all the rich people are like freaking out, then we just sneak away with the money. But
we do have to make sure that whatever we do remains professional, however.
Okay.
That is our, we always want to make sure that we.
Sorry,
that job was so professional.
I was just thinking in terms of, fuck the bourgeoisie.
Again, I'm not gonna.
I'm okay with that too, but
I'm not gonna yuck anybody's yum here.
No, that's Jingle's own take on it. So don't worry about it. If you've got a more professional idea.
Well, see, then later we could go on the non-anachronistic Yelp and downvote their restaurants. So, we're accomplishing everyone's purpose at one time.
1 star, soup came with corpse.
Yeah, we find out when the Doskvol Gazetteer restaurant critic is going, and
I played that vampire. The Masquerade Bloodlines mission. Okay, so this sounds social to me. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Who's got the social connection glass?
Probably.
I mean, I'm willing to entertain other offers, but glass seems like the obvious way in.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we know any good fences.
I in fact have a friend who's an information broker.
Mm-hmm.
Who
So, I
can
mean,
tell me all about the best restaurants.
Yeah.
And fences.
Well, and I mean, like, so is she the middle person here? Like, is she the go-between? Like, she gets you to go there and then also your contacts?
Yes, because in this type of situation, I like to not have a direct connection between myself and...
Until everybody sits down at the table?
Right.
Awesome. All right. Cool. So that is Salia, the information broker, is the social connection. What is everybody's loadout? I'm assuming... Well, I'm guessing light, because anything heavier than light makes you look like some kind of scoundrel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm like.
Okay.
I enjoy the fact that one of the things you can have is subterfuge supplies, because that just sounds so great.
If we weren't doing a one-off thing, it's worth noting that one of the Hawker crew upgrades you can get is like whenever you go out, you can have an item not count as any load, and be concealed.
Yeah.
Nice. That's pretty great.
Awesome. Okay. So we've got the job type, we've got the social connection, we've got everybody's load. So let's do. This is honestly probably my favorite part of theater and Blades in the Dark. So the engagement roll is a fortune roll, starting with 1 die for sheer luck. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? Oh, whoops, I skipped one ahead. Is this operation particularly bold or daring?
I mean, we're going to cause trouble at a fancy restaurant, so yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to cause trouble at a fancy restaurant while also selling illegal merchandise at a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it a literal under the table sort of exchange?
We'll see in play. But the
Depends
fact
on
that...
how long the tablecloths are.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it might go under the table after Chime flips it.
Yeah.
How
So...
dare you?
Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target? I don't think this operation is complex or contingent on many factors.
No.
Does expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest?
We don't know what the soup of the day is, though.
Yeah.
It's the soup du jour.
Isn't it usually broccoli cheese or like some type of broth?
I mean, I'm going to guess it's probably got mushrooms in it.
And eel.
Huh.
Yeah, it's whatever French onion is, except like not French and mushroom instead of onion.
Right.
There you go. It's
Well,
cream of mushroom. Every day.
It's dark a lot.
Yes. So does your connection expose a vulnerability of the target? She's well connected. She's in high society. I think, yeah, she can get a table at this restaurant, no problem. So yeah, that's 4. What is this? A crew that's prepared for a score?
Yeah. It's going to go so far south, though, when we all roll 2s.
Yep. Is the target strongest against this approach, or do they have particular defenses or special preparations? I don't think they're strongest against social idiots being people at them.
Probably not.
Can friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? Probably.
Her information broker?
Yeah. So we're up to 5. This is kind of absurd. Are any enemies or rivals interfering in the operation? I'm going to say yes.
Oh no.
Are there any other elements you want to consider? Maybe a lower tier target give you +1 die. Maybe a higher tier target give you -1 die. I don't think so. I think we roll in with 4 dice.
Okay.
Actually, y'all are broke as shit. I don't know that all of you can afford fancy dress for this fancy dress restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll go down to 3 dice.
Okay.
I'm literally wearing like a rolled up shirt and a waistcoat.
And it's still covered in Hugh Jackman blood.
Oh yeah.
So do we all just
smoke?
If it's 3 dice, do we all just want to roll 1 fortune, or?
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, and smoke.
Yeah. So 3 die. So. Are we all rolling a fortune, or is one person doing all three die?
It sounds like everybody roll 1.
Okay, cool.
And then we know whose fault it is.
Probably myself.
So how many are we? 3?
1 fortune roll. 1 die fortune roll.
So each of us are going to do it.
Right, okay. I'm not writing any notes.
Okay. We get a 5. There's like a couple murmurs about who let in the riffraff street rat.
They're with me and my large boobs that are showing.
There you go.
I don't whip that out often, but for the fancy restaurants and the blood shirt, I have to.
There you go. Listen, you're just working with what you got.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like Jingle probably says something about like these fucking rich people, and you like very quickly put a hand over his mouth.
Yeah.
And like most of the blood is concentrated, like let's say on like the chest of Chime, and you like put a handkerchief in his pocket, so it like the pocket square covers it up.
Pocket square. And it's a really kind of colorful pocket square.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to be something like Chime like leans over to Beth's window, flip the table, and you just like shush me.
Everybody shh.
And yeah, you sit down at the table. I think they're running a few minutes late. But one of the Dimmer sisters sits down this table across from you, and then like basically like three people who look like identical twins but at different stages of their lives. Like they're all sort of like 5 to 10 years apart from one another. All file in. I think in order of like increasing age.
That is terrifying.
And they all sit down and like, yeah, have similar mannerisms and speech patterns. God damn it. I'm reading Twitch chat and there's a bunch of jokes in there. Like good fences make good neighbors. Okay. I should also switch to this so people can see your lovely, lovely rolls. And yeah, the youngest of the Dimmer sisters sort of extends a hand over to Glass and says, a pleasure to meet you. My name is Talia.
Indeed, it is always a pleasure to meet such illustrious people. I am Tarva, and these are my associates.
Hi.
Good.
Yeah. Like Chime is like, I don't know, I want to say like 19 or something.
Good. So I don't know how much you heard, David, but a young lady sat down, and then like functionally people who look like identical twins to her, but all like 5 to 10 years older than the one before them, filed in and sat down. Like I think there's 4 of the Dimmer sisters sitting down across from, I'm imagining like a large round actually it's probably a rectangular table. They're way easier to bring food to.
Okay.
Maybe it is dim sum. Maybe it's fancy Doskvol dim sum, and it is a big round table with a lazy Susan in the middle. I like that idea.
So it's got like eel, mushrooms.
Well, like
goat.
yeah, Talia places an order, and a bunch of food that I don't know if Chime or Jingles are particularly familiar with arrive, and it's
like weird. I'm watching everybody else to see how you're supposed to.
Yeah, and it's eagle shao mai and like hot and sour mushroom soup, and yeah.
Is there any haggis?
Yes.
Like, that's like no, it's like Chime like leaning forward, asking the Dimmer sister.
Good. I think there's a consort role here. It might be a group consort to like not make an ass of yourselves. Which it's weird that Chime is the best at this. But maybe you're really good at reading social cues.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're cute and Talia thinks you're cute.
Yeah. Like, I think that's what I got going for me. Like, the whole little scrappy thing. You can't stay mad at me.
And the great pocket square. Let's not forget.
Yeah. Yes.
It sets off your eyes at the same time as, like...
Pocket square.
Oh, you know what? As she puts it in, I probably, like, fluff it up or something.
Is your pocket square the same color as your tooth?
Yes. It's like, see, I don't know what the tooth is made of, because I was going to have this thing, if anyone asks him, he's going to make up some bullshit answer every single time. Like, that one guy from Ratatouille, you know, like, it's like, what did he go to prison for? He comes up with, like, a different thing every time.
Every time, yeah.
Yeah. I think he's going to claim that he managed to chip part of the
Oh, the bell.
The bell that rings. And he brought it to Sawtooth, and he put it in him.
Good.
Yeah, so maybe it's like a gold pocket square or brass. Brass. It's brass.
Okay. All
It's not
right.
as he says it's gold.
Sure. Obviously.
Obviously.
And then if you're trying to get with a musician, then it's brass. All right, let's see a consort.
Okay.
As people eat food that is, and I think this is risky, and like the risk is just like the Dimmer sisters know you aren't like that as a group. You aren't particularly high class, and they can kind of swindle you a bit on the price.
So this is a group action?
I think so.
Okay.
If you want to do something different to like try to fit in and smooth things over, like this is sort of the first hurdle, though. I'm thinking. It's
I
like,
will totally lead by being adorkable and charming at dinner.
Mhm.
Maybe try making some of them laugh. So risky, controlled.
Risky
Okay.
because of the fortune roll.
Okay.
And we're all rolling the same thing.
I mean,
yeah,
if everybody's pitching in,
Yeah.
I'll just get stressed out. But it's fine because I reduced it. I will push myself unless you have a really fun devil's bargain in mind.
I mean, the devil's bargain is it's not Talia who's flirting with you. It's like
One
a
of
few.
her older sisters. Okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
no, it's not that. It's whatever's like whomever is in control. Like it isn't Talia in Talia.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something else driving her around.
Oh.
Oh.
Fun.
Whoa.
That's the devil's bargain.
Okay. No pressure. I think I'll just push myself instead of taking the devil's bargain.
Instead of get out.
Yeah.
Well, can I?
Well, you're gonna do your own roll afterwards.
You can take the devil's bargain if you want an extra die, Renee.
No, I just wanted to know. I mean, even though it's a group action, could I still assist Chime?
No.
No, I don't think so.
You can assist instead of rolling for the group action.
How much consort do you have?
I have 3 naturally.
So I mean, with an assist,
So,
she's at 5 dice,
Yeah.
Okay.
which might make more sense than doing the group action, honestly.
Maybe you correct me every time like I start going off topic with a story. It's like, no, we're here for business. Like you swap my arm or something.
Or like just under the table, like step on his foot or something.
Oh, maybe like I pick up the wrong spoon.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like I would be less likely to mess up the dinner process
Mm-hmm.
and probably could have helped prepare, like, if I kick your foot, stop doing whatever it is you're doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, right as we walk in the door, like, just...
Yeah. Probably like as you were like putting the pocket square and you're like,
Right.
don't do this, don't do that,
Yep.
don't do this.
Outside in, and, yeah.
Love it.
Okay, so pushing myself and the assistance from
Yep.
class. 6.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, any mistakes you make are adorable instead of like embarrassing. And maybe even like catch, like you look across the table and you see one of the elder sisters like doing something and like looking at you like, are you an idiot? And you're just like, no, like, look, I can learn things really quickly and like adapt on the fly. Yeah, you're affable, you're charming, and they think that maybe if you don't necessarily belong here, like you could, given not even a huge amount of time.
Oh, I am like Jack on the Titanic when he's down at dinner with all of them.
Yeah. I haven't seen that movie on purpose, but that's probably a great touchstone.
So really, if you just look at a lot of pictures of the scenery and sets and costumes, you're good.
Yeah. Well, and like, I mean, you're like following what Talia's doing and what the elder sisters are doing, and like one of them is like looks at you a little weird as though you're an idiot, and you're just like, no, it's cool, I got this, ha 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 ha, and like Talia laughs, and it's like this charming beatific like sweet sound that's possibly a little enchanting. And yeah, talks progress. I'm imagining, Glass, like you spend some time haggling over price. But yeah, the Dimmer sisters seem well at ease here. Does your friend stick around, or is she just here for the introductions and then she's got other arrangements?
I would say probably she's here for the introductions and makes a plausible excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's the type that she wouldn't want to look conspicuous, like I'm making these people meet and I'm leaving. So she has kind of like a prearranged thing where a servant comes and tells her that, oh, something's happened and you're needed, and she makes her apologies and leaves, as rich people will do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's, you know, down to a science.
Well, like, I don't think anybody else notices, but you super notice that she leaves with like a full glass of wine. Like right after someone, like a waiter comes by and refills her glass.
I'm like, oh no, I must leave, and I must take this in my hand with me
well,
as I go.
I'm so shocked. I couldn't possibly think to set this down.
I forgot that it didn't belong there.
Yeah. Yeah, so Sally is left, probably through like a side entrance or something. There's a carriage waiting. Dinner is progressing, and you get the idea that they still, like, it's not that they don't take you seriously, but it's that there's more money here than maybe they're offering. Like, this might be a bigger opportunity, or maybe they could be clients.
Yes, I kind of think that I probably want to play the long game, because if this deal goes well, they could be really valuable assets as clients in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you like to seal that deal?
I would definitely want to bring up in conversation the idea of an ongoing professional relationship,
mm-hmm.
and see how they react to that. You know, do they seem like they would be interested in more products? What kind of products they might be interested in the future? And I guess imply that I would be willing to give them a good deal on this in light of deals in the future.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you'll give them a discount now, and that'll like ensure future deals. Okay.
Right.
That sounds like a sway.
Okay. This is probably risky, huh?
This is probably risky.
Yeah.
It might be controlled, actually. Like you've sort of like you've backed down from the risky by not making by Chime not making an ass of themselves.
I didn't flip the table yet.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay.
Yeah, I think this is controlled standard.
Okay.
Success looks like, yeah, you've got an extra contact. Okay.
Ooh.
So, I mean, yeah. Who are you talking to mostly? Like, is it to Talia, or is it to one of the more elder?
Since Talia sat down and introduced herself specifically,
mm-hmm.
I would probably be taking that as a signal that she is the one to talk to. Certainly, I would include the rest of them in my gaze,
mm-hmm.
so to speak. That sounds weird. But she did introduce herself, and so whether or not she's actually the decision maker. She is obviously the spokesperson for the group, so.
Yeah, and so while you're talking to Talia, she definitely seems super interested. I think she says she looks you in the eye and she says, I can't speak, with I'm definitely very interested. This is something that could benefit myself and my sisters very richly. And she reaches out and puts her hand on yours.
Okay.
And then sort of glances up the table to her elder sisters, and then withdraws her hands and says, "But I can't make any guarantees at this time." And while she had her hand on yours, she slipped you a card that basically says, "I'll take as much as you've got.
Okay.
Just name a price."
Okay.
And sort of unspoken in that is, and they can't know about it.
Right. Okay.
Jingle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any window into the arcane or spooky stuff? Because you're working with a bit of ghost for your vanishing varnish.
Well, the person who I have a good relationship with is a psychonaut.
Yep. So the things that sort of Talia seemed most interested in when Glass was selling her,
Mm-hmm.
Her interest seemed to peak with things that could most readily be used to make an improvised explosive device.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird given that the Dimmer sisters have a reputation for being fairly standoffish. They hold back. They try to be sort of Switzerland and not get in anybody's business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on there. And yeah, they're definitely trying to at least Talia is definitely trying to make weapons. Is this the sort of thing that you're just cool and file that away, or do you want to
because they're like you said, they're sort of they're more of a neutral faction.
Famously so. They host.
Right. So it kind of feels, from Jingle's perspective, if the neutral faction is maybe moving to do something, it's probably for changing the status quo rather than enforcing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want to enforce the status quo, you can just stay neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Is sort of his thought process. So
okay.
Yeah, he's just gonna file that away.
Okay. Cool. I'm dinner moves on. More sort of steaming dishes arrive and are placed on the Lazy Susan in the center of the table. More things are charmingly, adorably eaten wrong, but understandably wrong by Chime. And it sounds like there's a deal more or less hammered out here. And I think it's about time. Everyone sort of knows it's about time for the bill to be paid.
Okay.
The Dimmer sisters look to you. Who does what?
So we're
I'd like
causing
to
a
have-
big distraction?
I'd like to have a flashback, actually.
Sure.
Oh, shit.
So because it was a reservation and everything, we knew what table we were going to be sitting at.
Mm-hmm.
So I came in before the restaurant opened today.
Yep.
Because through some contacts, I met with some of the wait staff and stuff and got in. And what I've done is I've actually gone in and rigged the table so that I can pull a leg out and it will collapse
Okay.
with like our food and everything on it when the waiter's coming by.
Yep. Awesome.
And that's gonna cause a big scene, obviously. But then it's like, it's not our fault. Table just, what sort of place are you running?
Okay.
I like that a lot.
That feels like a probably at least a one stress flashback.
Okay.
And then probably a wreck to set up the sabotage because you're a saboteur. That or
Yes.
talking your way in is the difficult part. Probably the wreck. Because I'm imagining some of the people who work here are sympathetic to your like unionization and socialism talk.
Yeah, like what I'm selling on is like, it's this guy that's working here today. Like, do you want to see him like totally have to? He's gonna get chewed out by the owner so bad.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yep.
Because I got saboteur, so I can like go in and do this, and like nobody's gonna know that it.
Yeah, it's quiet
set
and
up that
hidden
way.
from casual inspection, I think is the term.
Yes.
So yeah, let's see some wreck and let's see how well this goes.
Can I assist in some way? Like, as this is setting it up, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shit. I was going to do that. If we were doing it live, I would have assisted.
Is that the whole dinner? I'm sitting like with a hacksaw quietly beneath the table.
You've got creepy like halfway to monkey feet, and you're just sawing with your feet.
All right, is that just a risky standard then?
I think it's controlled. Like the people you talk to are like, yeah, fucking do it. Let's see this.
Okay.
I think it's risky because you're going to be sitting at the table when it goes. Actually, sorry.
Okay. So wreck. So risky standard.
Nice.
Boom.
Boom.
Jingle all the way.
Actually, more like crash.
I am so glad you found a place to say that. I have been waiting all episode.
I want to say like it's not when they're bringing the bill. Actually, it's like when they're bringing like the dessert or whatever the last course is. Like they set it down and everybody's going to get it, and then
Yeah, and it's
Nice.
so. I mean, yeah. What happens? What was your sabotage to do? Like, does the table
so
tip?
what I did, yeah, it tips. So like there's a leg that I played with one leg on the side and then like the center column. So like once the leg goes out and then it just falls and so it like everything all on the ground. Obviously, huge mess.
Does
and
anyone
playing
get caught in like the flying bowls or anything? Or is it right as like the waiter sets down like the last plate, like because it's feeding 8 or 9 people was the idea. So
that's the thing is like some people are probably going to get caught up in it.
Yeah.
Like I knew what table it was, but I didn't know like how people were going to be seated. So like I made sure I took a seat to activate the leg.
Yep.
But like I don't know who might be affected by it necessarily.
Okay. I mean, let's.
Is that just a fortune?
Yeah, I think it's just a fortune roll, and like higher is probably just like not Talia, and like a 6 is like you get mostly the waiter. Honestly, probably the success is also Glass because she's like dressed the actually fanciest. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Glass.
It's okay.
It works best.
So I press for fortune. Do I want to have one die then?
Yeah,
Or-
this is a 1 die fortune roll. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's Glass, like, honestly, it's probably more than you wanted to be hit by.
Probably.
This whole meal, you've been sitting in this one seat, and you're just like, fuck.
Right?
Because you know what's coming.
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for this.
And you're like,
It's okay.
I put on, like, the nice dress, and
Right.
of course it's the lowest cut.
Yep. It's gonna be so cold,
Yeah.
wet, and gross, and whatever's on the table is going to be on me, and that's okay.
But at least it's been like a productive dinner otherwise, and
Right.
yeah.
To fuel my indignation. Do you know how much this dress costs?
And you're
I demand that someone take care of me.
yeah. Well, you're very method, and like it won't be hard to get into character.
No. I do really like the dress, so
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I mean, like the waiter is instantly apologetic. It's probably like the maitre d', like because he's looking after this high class table,
Right.
and also he's like the guy that the like his staff are getting back at. Yeah, and so he's like super apologetic and like, yeah.
Yeah, you should be sorry. This is a really expensive dinner, and this is an expensive dress, and who built your tables?
Yeah, let's.
I don't expect to pay any
Are
gold
there,
for the
yeah.
meal.
What, do you have termites in here?
Right? Now I wonder. Everything is pestered. What must the kitchen look like?
All right, let's see some dice, and it definitely sounds like A, you've been set up by this rec roll, and B, it sounds like Jingle just chimed in with helping.
Do I take a stress to assist them?
Yeah, it's one stress to give
All right.
Renee a die.
Am I swaying?
Sounds like.
Swaying. Well, what am I doing here?
Probably. I think this is risky great because, like, it sounds like you're a little desperate to get out of the bill. But, I mean, if you nail it, then he's just going to apologize and, like...
Okay.
Yeah.
So do I have added dice?
You have at least one extra die.
Okay.
I think, like, the devil's bargain is in the confusion. You've, like, thrown the card that Talia slipped you out, and one of the other sisters is going to grab it.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm willing to risk that.
You
Okay.
just push yourself since this is a one shot.
Yeah. You can take 2 stress to push yourself
Oh, yeah, I can't do that, can
for
I?
another die.
Okay.
Instead of the devil's bargain.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to set up, like, an interesting future state for Doskvol, though.
Let's do it.
I mean, you don't have any stress yet, do you?
I don't. So 2 stress,
So, yeah.
no big.
Yeah.
How big?
Let's do it.
So, yeah, sway with 2 bonus dice. Great
Oh.
effect.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, you channel your inner I want to talk to your manager lady. And, yeah, he's terrified. Like, also, he's kind of socially awkward because, like, a bunch of that went down your dress. And he's like,
Right.
I don't know even how to, like, begin. And, oh, God, like, are there termites? And he's like, just, you have caught this poor person like a deer in headlights. And you are the oncoming Mack truck of dissatisfied customer that leaves
Do you
him...
know who my friends are?
Yeah.
I will tell all of them.
I mean, I know the Ink Rakes, and they will leave a terrible review for you in the Doskvol Daily and the Doskvol Journal, and the Doskvol Daily Journal.
Wow, this town has 3 papers.
Yeah. But they're all operated by one gang. It's very Italy.
I was gonna say it's Rupert Murdoch. He owns all the papers.
Yeah, very apologetic. Mortified, I think, is the word. Says, of course, we'll comp you. Don't. And here, like, this is a cleaner that we use normally to do, like, the tablecloths. Oh, no, I shouldn't have told you that. The next time you come in, like, what is your name? I'll make sure you get, like, preferential and, like, the chef special, and we won't charge you a dime. This person you have wrapped around whatever phalange you so desire.
Yeah, excellent. This is exactly the way I like it.
Yeah. If this were Monster Hearts, you'd have like 4 or 5 strings on this person. Like they're hooped.
And I will absolutely leave my name because this would be a really good place to do another deal in the future.
Oh yeah, the dimmer
Sometimes you have to just really impress some clients.
I think even the Dimmer, like, the elder Dimmer sisters and Talia, like, are also sort of apologetic. Like, I didn't expect, like, this place is normally sterling. I'm terribly sorry we insisted on this place. Clearly we could have done better. Next time we'll have to have you at our estate. And, like, you're not sure if that's necessarily good or not, but, like, a private invitation to their... Yeah.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, so you've made a few contacts out of this. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they'll let you just walk out of here at this point. And yeah, the Dimmer sisters have basically arranged for payment to arrive, and for the shipment to be, transported. They've got their own people who schlep.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And they probably all look eerily similar.
Yeah, probably. The real question here is, out of the adorableness, does Chime get a date?
Yes.
I mean,
do I get something with Talia? Like, do I rush to her side of the table?
Oh, do you want to do the prowl, or like whatever, like however you wish to, like, if you want to be like, get down, Mrs. President, or whatever.
Oh, see, I don't know. I was initially picturing what Chime does during this whole thing is he's sitting in his chair, sulking that he didn't get to flip the table himself.
I'm imagining like the carriage ride over. You're just like, but Jingle, what if I did your thing to like make the table go?
I'm probably like doing something like during dinner, like I could make it look like I'm doing it with no hands. It's like got both my hands like very like theatrically placed on the table, and I'm like bouncing my knee. No, I think I'm just talking to Talia.
Okay.
Asking her, are you okay? That was horrible.
She's going to try to hypnotize you.
Oh, good. This is fine.
Does Chime have the wherewithal to resist? See,
I don't know.
She just wants you on side.
Yeah.
You look like a very strong, capable man, and like that. Maybe like there's still a little like black eye makeup, and she's like, and you look like you know how to fight, and like puts a hand, like a tiny ladyfinger hand, on your like, calloused, and probably like your knuckles have been broken a few times, and like healed poorly. And she's just like, I could find use for you. And like, there's a little like, I could find use for these hands. I think we get like the 3 different versions of the line all layered on top of each other. And it's like, I could find a use for these hands. I could find targets for these hands, and like, you will work for me. All stacked on top of each other. Right.
See, I'm not sure he would resist it because he is a sucker for compliments.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I think I will roll resolve.
Okay.
Anyway.
So that means it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So you blanket however you choose to do so. Let's see what it costs you.
2 stress.
Okay. I think she knows that like it didn't hit for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You're allowed to be suspicious if you want, but she
No, I don't think I'm negative towards it. I mean, my last girlfriend put a hit on me. It's not the worst thing a lady's done.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just trying to remove your like, ability to like control yourself. She's like, she pulls herself close to you, like using her petite frame as basically like a vector for additional seduction. And she's like, we simply must meet again under more pleasant circumstances, and like gets in a little closer and is like, just the 2 of us.
No shit.
And like, some part of your brain is just like, she is trying to use me. And then like maybe another larger part of your brain is like, she's trying to use me.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna make note of it.
Okay.
See what the future holds for us. Kind of, like I say, we'll see what the future holds for us. One is kind of like a polite way to like cue to her.
Yep.
That didn't work.
But
then I'm not totally against anything.
And she's gonna say something like, I'll cast the bones tonight and like pray for a good omen or something. Like she's gonna go back and do some spooky divination and also probably do a weird ritual.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say like tea leaves because Dimmer's sister.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, I'll read the leaves. I'll read the leaves until they're favorable. Like.
Wow.
He loves me. He loves me not.
He'll murder for me. He'll murder for me not.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, and we find ourselves back to pay off heat and downtime. The crew earns 2 rep per square by default. This was a scarier job, so there's 4 rep. I feel like this was a 6 coin job.
Yeah.
Although if you gave them the discount glass, maybe it's down to 4 to like get in their good graces. I mean, no, this is a 6 coin job. This was a standard job.
Yeah.
So everybody take 2 coin. How do we think this went? Do we think this was smooth and quiet?
No.
I mean, aside from the table exploding,
right? Like we accomplished what we set out to do, without disruption. So
and like the table exploding, they think is their fault.
Right.
I think this was smooth and quiet. Like they might recognize you.
I mean, that's the point of it being still getting some sort of heat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, this was a high profile target. There we go.
Yeah.
There's the 1 heat.
I was gonna say, the person that Glass chews out, like, writes her an IOU. It just says everything on a piece of paper.
Well, he's gonna show up outside your apartment with like a gramophone above his head.
Oh my god.
Mercy.
Awesome. Could have been one of someone's special friends. Oh, 1. That's the same thing. Okay. I will choose to deploy that later. We've got downtime, but it's also 9 o'clock here, so let's do the end of session stuff. I also really like this bit of theater in the game. So let's start with Duncan. Duncan.
Hello.
You addressed a challenge with violence or coercion.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an impressive little bit of violence.
Yeah. I mean, the fun thing is you don't have to be successful at it.
Nope. So yeah, take your 2. Mm-hmm. You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
I definitely expressed my background quite a bit.
Yep.
I mean, it's like I'm scrappy. I get in trouble. I'm all for helping Doskvol refugees with the medicine stuff.
Sucker for a pretty face.
Yeah.
Take your 2. Didn't struggle with issues from your vice or trauma, though.
No.
I don't think anybody did particularly. Nickel, Jingle, Rockful. That's just a fun triad of words.
Yeah, it is.
Nickel, you addressed a challenge with technical skill or mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You blew up a table. You paralyzed a dude.
Yes.
That's right. I definitely forgot about that.
Yeah. Expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I'd say so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you get your 2 there. And again, didn't struggle with issues from your vice or trauma.
Excuse me.
Tarva, you addressed a challenge with calculation or conspiracy.
think so.
I mean,
A little bit.
literally every time you're just like, oh yeah, foresight. Like, that's the calculation.
Yeah.
You're like, I knew this idiot would do that thing. That's why I prepared for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I mean, the fling with the X.
Ah, there we go, yes. The background, yeah.
Is definitely part of your background. And then when you were like, oh yeah, Salia, like the information broker, she'll get me into this fancy restaurant I can't afford.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And then last but not least, we've got the crew. The crew acquired product, executed clandestine or covert sales, or secured new territory. We've got
2 out of 3.
Yeah.
2, yeah.
Yeah, you get 2 XP for that. Contend with challenges above your current station.
Yes.
Yes.
At tier 0, everything is above our station.
Bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like you were professional both times, and like, I'm trying to think of like the word for it, but it's like controlled chaos. It's like planned bedlam.
It's the Ocean's 11 technique.
Yeah. Is it calculating? Like, because it's not chaos if you're in control of it.
Crafty?
Cunning? I like crafty as well. Because crafty also has like the double meaning.
Right.
Yeah, crafty. So you get you 2 there. And then express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. Essential nature, I'd say you're opportunistic, possibly to a fault.
Yeah.
And you kind of do like a group hug thing.
Yeah.
Like, you tried not to make enemies, basically constantly. Yeah. Yeah. All right, that's the end of session stuff.
Awesome.
I've been Andrew Otway. That was One Night in Doskvol. I really, really like Blades of the Dark. I had a lot of fun tonight. I hope everybody else did.
I wouldn't mind having another night.
Yeah.
This was really fun.
Yeah. This
One more night in Doskvol.
right? It names itself.
Yeah.
I'm glad I saved the PSD so I can just easily edit the title for the overlay.
I mean, you know, we have to do the Hollywood thing where we do one, and it's like, this worked out so well, let's do more, and then it turns into a trilogy, and eventually we'll do a spin-off series. You know?
What if we call it One Night in Doskvol, but then the L's are Roman numeral 2?
Oh god.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, clearly it's Two Night, Too Furious, or whatever the next one is. Two Night, Two Doskvol? Yeah.
We go into the alternate universe somehow. We don't know how we did it. We have to find our way back through cunning.
So, like, the second one would be Doskvol 2 Night.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
And then One Night Doskvol Drift or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just keep that thing going.
Oh my god.
Hi, camera.
Anyway.
Nope, I'm just blurry now. All right.
Forever.
All right, yeah, we've been That D&D Podcast. Check us out on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter. Most of those places we're at That D&D Podcast or similar. We've got a Patreon and a bunch of other stuff. I'm Andrew Otway. Rest of you, outroduce yourselves.
Oh, outroduce. Good night. I'm Renee.
This is David signing off.
I am Jordan. And good night.